everyone, Kim here, Abundant Life Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. We are doing a part 2 to the Maritime Mysteries reading that I did on Kevin McGrath's disappearance. Kevin was last seen on September 4th, 2023 on the Carnival Conquest cruise liner. And it's like he vanished, he just disappeared. Check out part 1. It is time-stamped. I give a little bit more background as to, what I was able to find out. Plus, we do a deep dive into, the energy surrounding what may have been going on with him up to the point of him disappearing. What this video, though, is about is something different. It is a reading that I did offline on September 16th, 2023. I have been hearing about his case for a while, probably a week after he had gone missing. But I was hesitant to do a reading because my intuition was speaking to me that something may have happened where mental health may have been a factor. And whenever I have clues, or if I get intuitive hunches where it could be that someone may have been really struggling mentally, I now make a policy to try to steer away from those readings. But Spirit directed me to share this reading, and I think I now understand the bigger picture as to why. So I'll explain to you what came up in that September 16th reading, and let's discuss it a bit further. Okay, so let's take a look at these cards here. I don't exactly remember the questions that I asked on September 16th, but I was able to snap a picture of the cards that jumped. And the first set we're looking at here starts out with the 8 of Swords and the 5 of Swords. There's a sense of restriction, self-imposed restriction, anxiety, feeling trapped, a trapped situation of your own making, feeling defeated, feeling let down, feeling discouraged, feeling like, you've got enemies coming at you or you having to defend a position. That's what I see with the 8 of Swords and the 5 of Swords. And he's been dealing with something heavily for the last 5 to 8 months. And I sense, if you look all the way towards the bottom, the friends and associates card tells us that like his friends and associates may have been in the know about these anxieties. His family may not have known the full extent, but some of his friends may have, friends and associates, okay? And it may start to come out as time goes on, the next few months, as people start to further speculate. It may start to come out from friends and those close to him that he was under mental stress and distress about something in his life. It was really weighing on him. He was feeling a sense of imprisonment in his life. I say that because of the 8 of Swords and because of the jail or imprisonment oracle card that jumped. Here's the thing about that card, though. The thing about that card, I just thought at first it was like a mental jail, and it can mean multiple things when you see these oracle cards, right? It can mean a few different meanings. But as I started to do further research into his case before I thought I was going to even cover it on the channel, I learned that he was under felony probation, okay? And he had been dealing with that, and it was probably weighing on him, and he could have been facing potential jail time. I don't know if he was or not, or what was the terms of his probation, but nevertheless, that's what it's being reported, that he was on felony probation. The other thing is that he did owe back child support to the tune of about $5,000. I don't know that anyone has actually vetted that amount or confirmed it for sure, but that's the amount floating around. I've certainly known people who owed a lot more than $5,000 and, they still go on about their life. But coupled with all the different things that was on him and, all the different issues he was dealing with, I would say that, he could have been in a very precarious situation with his mental health. As we see here, the mental health card is sitting there. And that was one of the reasons why I took pause on covering his case on the channel. But Spirit wanted me to share about his case because there's some wisdom here for us. And there could have been signs that he was struggling mentally, okay? Months leading up to, it could have even gone back years, but there was an acute time frame between 5 to 8 months prior to now that he was going through something and it was weighing heavily. The news media coverage, that news media and the press card, to me was symbolizing that not much was getting out about what he was really going through, which is not a bad thing because sometimes people will start to prejudge a person who's missing or who's a victim of a crime. And, if they had heard right off the bat that maybe he was dishonorably discharged, he's estranged from his wife and he owes back child support, he's on felony probation, people might not want to search for him. So I can understand why that information may have been kept under wraps. But it can also explain why we're seeing this unfoldment of what happened. I do get a sense that the investigation has revealed some information that is not privy to the public, but that the investigators have seen something. They have found something about all of that leads them to believe that they may think that he jumped into the water or somehow ended up in the water on his own. I'm saying that because of the water card sitting there. We also have the debt card. The water next to the debt card could be he's financially underwater. He's feeling like he can't catch his breath. He's feeling like the weight of the world is on him. So it could mean that. It also could mean he's drowning in debt, in his perception, right? In how he views things. So I also get a sense that the water card was speaking to actually where he may be. And the alone card plus the isolated card in this entire spread is telling me that he got into the water on his own, not with assistance. He felt a sense of being alone in the world, even though he was amongst loved ones, amongst friends, or, not just friends, but family on this trip. But just in life, he was, a lot of people would never expect him to feel so alone. So alone. We got the lawyer card, and that speaks to perhaps the legal issues that he may have been facing. And just feeling overwhelmed. And again, the friends and associates card can indicate that his friends are aware of, him having to deal with legal woes, dealing with certain debts, feeling like he's drowning, feeling alone. And the friends and associates card could mean that maybe he got into it with a new friend he met on the ship, maybe somebody with a law background, and somehow they got him into the water. Maybe they felt like he owed them something. I don't know. But for me, when I see the alone and isolated card, it's telling me that you need to look a little closer to that mental health card, and that this is something that he probably did on his own. Even if it's a situation where he got into the water accidentally, where maybe he was feeling despondent, feeling alone, depressed, and maybe he slipped. Maybe he was sitting high, perched high on the railing. I hear it's kind of difficult to navigate that, to climb up on that, but it's not impossible. And then he fell. It could be something along those lines, but mental health is definitely a thing here. And I know it had been initially reported in the news media that, he's happy-go-lucky, he's got a great smile, he had a lot to live for. All of those things can be true. You could have a lot to live for. You could have a great laugh and just a zest for life, but you also could be feeling overwhelmed and like you're running out of options, and what's the point? To that end, we move to the 10 of Pentacles sitting over the children and life insurance or inheritance card. I think this stems from him feeling like an inadequate parent, and like his children would be better off without him, or like they could benefit or earn something or get something, if he just wasn't there. I know, this sounds harsh, but this is what I'm picking up on. So we have the children card, life insurance or inheritance. This could be about him having a belief that his children would inherit something. The life insurance card also signaled to me that when life insurance is triggered, like when a qualifying event happens to trigger life insurance to be paid out, that would mean that someone has crossed over, someone has passed. And that card affirmed for me that his children will have to take on the legacy of not having their father the rest of their life. And it really broke my heart. It's another reason why I was like, I don't know. I don't know about, sharing this. I did also see that his twin brother, who I would imagine he's really close to, works in insurance and works in life insurance. But I think his brother is a trainer now, not necessarily selling insurance. And also, I think that he would have been eligible for some sort of either private life insurance or life insurance through the military. Some people were saying that he was dishonorably discharged. I don't know that to be true. I'm just simply saying what people are saying. And they're saying that he would not be eligible to get collect a pension or to get his beneficiaries wouldn't be entitled to get his life insurance payout. But I'm not so sure about that. And the reason I say that is because when I Googled about life insurance for both servicemen and women and those who are discharged or who are veterans, there is a policy that would even pay out even if someone took their own life. Like they don't have the policies for the military service people. They don't have the same exclusions like we do as civilians when we're going to get private insurance. And so, there's something to that here. I don't know about his brother's involvement. I'm not picking up on any of that. But I just sense that Spirit knows what that card means to me. I used to work in insurance for 19 years. So I think Spirit is giving me a nod to okay, this does mean that he crossed over. He also had concerns about his children and their future, their financial future, the legacy that he could leave for them. He was worried about that. Very much so. And I think that he may have been a bit mistaken and we're over worrying about that because in time, he's only 26. He would have figured it out. Even with his legal woes, he would have figured it out. But, I think what came up here was the Queen of Swords and the Page of Cups speaking to me, asking, will we ever find out? Will we ever get any information about what happens? The Queen of Swords is about the truth being revealed, somebody bearing witness, somebody being able to put it all together. Pages are about information coming through. Page of Cups is about messages of, to loved ones or about a loved one. All right. So I'm picking up on that. Also, I get a sense that the witness card with the footprints card is saying that there could have been a witness who saw him even after, him going back to the cabin his brother hearing him come in at about 3:30, but then his brother hearing the door open at about 5 something in the morning. It could have been someone who had seen him, but we are not privy to that information, and we may never be. But his family is going to get information about details that lead law enforcement to believe that perhaps he went overboard. And though I think law enforcement is going to probably stop short with the public based on current energies of saying that he took his own life, to spare the family or to help the family out as it relates to any concerns about exclusions with life insurance. I think if he's lost at sea and it just is stopped there, that any life insurance he may have had out for him, and his wife could even have life insurance out for him, then it would be no problem to collect once they declare him deceased. Witnesses could be that people start to come forward after realizing, maybe they did see some things in the months and years, the 2 years to about 5 to 8 months range of him slowly starting to lose grip with feeling like he could manage through things, power through things, overcome. The footprints are about the digital footprints, but when you're on a ship, and if you're out to sea, I don't know if maybe you can have access to, maybe the phone has GPS. I don't think so, but this is more about the months preceding his disappearance that law enforcement is going to be able to see and be able to pinpoint some things about where his mental state was going into the trip. I think there was temporary euphoria and happiness and joy, as we see with the Page of Cups, but we're going to get messages to loved ones. We may not be privy, but messages to loved ones about some things that lead law enforcement to believe that he may have made a choice, or at least may not have been in the best head state if he was out. He left the cabin, went wandering up to a deck somewhere, and, it's out of camera view, and he went overboard. From my understanding, that particular cruise line, the Conquest, may not have had the overboard sensors installed. So there's that. So if he's out of view from surveillance cameras and there's no overboard sensor, there's really no way to rule out that he didn't go overboard, right? But there could be surveillance taking them onto the path of, surveillance cameras, and then he just goes off into an area that's off camera, and then there you go. The isolated card, again, is just reiterating to me that this was like him on his own. Like he did this on his own. There's no other third party that contributed or helped him along with this. And that this may be a situation where he may be quote unquote buried at sea, or that this story may ultimately be buried where we don't get all of the information. But I think that we are all getting to a point of being able to put 2 and 2 together. And, some people might say, well, that's not enough to stress someone out. A little child support, or him being dishonorably discharged, or him being on felony probation, allegedly. All of this is alleged. But when you stack it all together, and him living in Florida, his kids living in Tennessee, they probably meant the world to him. I don't know if he's on felony probation. How is he doing with work? How is that going for him? How that can affect his mental health. And so I think Spirit wanted me to take this opportunity to first and foremost send love to those who love and care about him always, right? When we are focusing in on these beautiful souls, it's an opportunity to also send love out to their loved ones. But it's also to raise awareness on sometimes paying attention to the signals of people struggling if you're near them, and calling them up and just really genuinely asking them how's things going, and listening and really listening. Even if they're silent, there's information in silence. Some of, men especially aren't going to do cries out for help. Their cries out for help could be acting out, could be criminal acts, it could be something else that he had been struggling with for a long time. And so Spirit just wants me to put that out, about if you need support, reach out to a friend or loved one. Don't be afraid to be a burden. You're not a burden. And if, a lot of times we can put on a strong face, many of us, especially men, but deep down there's something going on, So that's it, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Please, on your way out, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Give me your thoughts, your feels, your intuitive hits, what came up for you in your readings surrounding Kevin's disappearance in the comment section down below. Take good care, my friends. Bye for now.